Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on Wager Talk TV with your college football top 25 video for this Saturday, November the 26th, week 13 of the college football season. I'm going to give you the three biggest head-to-head top 25 matchups this week. They all go on Saturday, plus a little bonus game at the end of the video, game that was just a bit outside for making the cut. Quick reminder, right now is the time to be involved with all sports at WagerTalk.com. First of all, you can get a 7-day $69 all sports package right now. That's a nice discount off the normal price of $99. But even better offer on my page right now is to get the rest of November for free when you buy December. I made this offer over a week ago right here on this video last week, and I know many of you took advantage. Thank you for getting on board. And since I made this offer last week, a mere 13-4, 76% all sports run in college and pro football and college and pro basketball on my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Yes, you missed a 13-4 run the past week, but why wait any longer? You can still get the next week of November, the rest of the month for free when you buy December. And December is a great month to be on board. Not only do we have NFL pro football, college bowl season, but we have NBA and NCAA basketball every single day as well. So by December, get the rest of November for free. Already 13-4 over the past week, and we have another week to go. No promo code needed. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut code WT.buzz/SM. All right, let's look at the three biggest college football top 25 head-to-head matchups for this week 13, Saturday, November the 26th. As I do every week here in this video series, I'm going to give you my database simulation, my projected outcome for each of these games. Now keep in mind, this is 10,000 game simulations in my proprietary database model, and it gives you the average outcome. So it's a good starting point for projected line value and winning margin. But of course, we dig a little bit deeper. We look at the situational setup, the analysis as well from a handicapping perspective. So let's start with the biggest game maybe of the year, and it's the first game on the board this Saturday. Number 3 Michigan at number 2 Ohio State. That's on Fox at noon Eastern Saturday afternoon. First of all, the point spread. Ohio State's an 8-point favorite against a very good defensive dog in Michigan that's allowing on the season just 11.5 points per game. But my math database says it's not enough. My database simulation has Ohio State winning this game by 14 points more than 50% of the time. I was a little surprised that the number came out this big. The main reason, though, of course, is because Ohio State is so explosive offensively, and that is where they hold the edge in this game, averaging 46.5 points per game, 7.5 yards per play. That's a full yard per play and a full touchdown more per game than Michigan. So Ohio State has the offensive edge, but Michigan does qualify as the better defensive dog in this game, getting up just over 4 yards per play, 4.1. Ohio State allows 4.5, so not a huge drop-off. And overall yards per play metrics, Ohio State has been the better team this year. The one disadvantage in this game for either unit, though, looks like it might be the Ohio State pass defense, as they give up 6.4 yards per pass against teams that average just 6.8. Michigan averages 7.9. And Michigan is more of a run-based offense, though, so it might not be a huge disadvantage here. And once again, Ohio State holds a substantial offensive edge. So we'll see if the line value makes a difference or not. My math model, my database favors Ohio State by 14. Once again, the betting market line is just 8. And one thing I want to point out, one of the reasons the line is about a touchdown lower than what I think it should be based on my game simulation is the fact that Michigan is a public dog in this game. You know, we talk a lot about the NFL Fade the Public video. By the way, that'll be up this Saturday afternoon for Sunday's games. It's an excellent reason to hit subscribe and hit the bell for an instant alert when that video goes live every week. I always mention that the public in general, 65-70% of the time, is going to be on favorites. But when they're on that rare underdog, it's always a red flag. And that happens a lot in college football and high-profile games. We don't use public consensus data as much in college football because there's more sharp professional money being bet. But they do often come in heavy on these top 5 matchups. And we saw that a few weeks ago. The most public underdog I've seen all season in college football was Tennessee against Georgia a few weeks ago. And if you remember right here on this video when we previewed that game, I told you my database predicted a double-digit win for Georgia. Georgia ended up being a strong best bet for my clients at WagerTalk.com that Saturday, and it cashed in as they did win the game by double digits. Michigan's not quite at that level, but they are a public dog this week. So I would lean towards Ohio State based on the fact there is some line value. My database simulation favors them by 14, but I'm passing on this game as an official play because I do respect Michigan as a good defensive dog. And keep in mind, I've been pro-Michigan all season long right here on the video each and every week. My math model database has favored Michigan in almost every game this year. And I also mentioned back in September, early in the season, when they were 20-1 or higher to win the national title, that they were worth a small play, as I thought they would be in this 14 playoff scenario. So what happens if Michigan loses? Well, according to ESPN, Michigan still has a 52% chance of getting in with one loss. Ohio State would have about a 79% chance if they ended up winning this game and then losing the Big Ten title game, which is less likely. But Michigan and Ohio State both benefited big time from Tennessee's upset loss against South Carolina last week. So once again, both teams likely still get in the Final Four playoff, which I think they deserve to. But more likely, Ohio State's going to win this game. And if you're going to have them winning the game, I would probably rather be on that side. Not an official play. Look, I've got 5 strong best bets for Saturday loaded right now at wagertalk.com. Also a bonus free play. This is not one of them. This game did not make the cut. But once again, I know many of you are going to play it and want to play it. I would lean towards Ohio State at -8. I would have liked it more, though, at -7 or less. But once again, my database favors them to win this big game by 14 points. All right, another top 25 matchup at 3:30 Eastern on Saturday afternoon over in the Pac-12. Used to be called the Civil War. I don't think we can call it that anymore. It's not allowed. But it's number 9 Oregon at number 21 Oregon State. That's at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. And we do have Oregon as currently a 3-point road favorite in this game as we head into the weekend. And I do think that line's a little bit too high. My database projection has Oregon winning by 1.7, by 1.5 points. So at 3 or more, there is some line value with the Oregon State Beavers. They also, kind of like Michigan, qualify as the defensive dog, the better defense, whereas Oregon, like Ohio State, has the better offense, the much better offense. Difference here, though, is that we get line value with Oregon State now as opposed to Michigan, and we also get a defensive dog at home in a rival situation here. My friend Mark Rogers over at Mark Rogers TV, I do some game previews with him every week on his channel here on YouTube. He broke it down on his Oregon channel, the 6 common opponents these two teams have faced. And the numbers justify what I just said, that Oregon's the much better offense, but Oregon State is the better defensive team. They've played 6 common opponents so far this year on the season. That's basically half their games. They've each played 11 games. So over half their games have been common opponents. And Oregon's offense has been much better, 7.3 yards per play, whereas Oregon State's just 5.7. So that's almost a yard and a half per play better for the Oregon Ducks versus common opponents. But Oregon State's been the better defense. They give up just 5.2 yards per play. The Oregon Ducks have given up 5.7. So defensive dog, but much better offensive team in Oregon. But I'm going to go with the database on this one. At +3 or more, there is some value with the Oregon State Beavers. Keep in mind, that's only a 1.5 difference from the projection and the actual line. But 3 is the most key number in all of sports betting when it comes to football. About an 8 to 9% chance Oregon wins this game by exactly 3 points. So at +3 or more, there is some value with Oregon State. And we had them as a best bet earlier this season against USC as a 5.5-point dog. They lost by just 3. And they held USC to just 17 points in that game at home, which is really impressive considering the Trojans are averaging a tremendous amount of points on the season. They're averaging overall this year 42.9. So this is a good defensive home dog in a rival game with some line value. I would lean towards Oregon State at +3 or more on Saturday afternoon. All right, those are the 2 daytime games. We've got 1 nighttime game. Speaking of USC, Notre Dame, USC. Also a bonus game that just missed the cut from being a top 25 matchup. Going to give those to you here in just a moment on Wager Talk TV. Quick reminder, though, that all sports is fantastic in November and December. Probably the 2 best months of the year to be an all sports client because you not only have college and pro football, but you also have the NBA and college basketball on a daily basis. 4 major sports going in November and December. Last week I told you by December you get the rest of November for free. Many of you took advantage. I appreciate you being on board, and you've gone 13-4, 76% over the past week since I made that offer. I know you're kicking yourself if you sat back and waited. Don't wait any longer. Get on board right now. I've got 5 strong college football best bets locked and loaded for this Saturday. Also a bonus play posted on my page as well at wagertalk.com. And you can get those for free along with Sunday's strong NFL card, college and pro basketball every day along the way. Get the rest of the November, the next week, for free when you buy December. Look, you're going to play December. You got the college bowl season, NFL, college and pro basketball. Why not get the next week of November for free? We've gone 13-4 over the past week. Looking to have another huge weekend here. College football has just been smoking over the past month and a half on Saturdays. And I've got 5 strong best bets for this Saturday locked and loaded right now. And it's none of the games we're talking about in the video. None of these games were strong enough. I've got 5 strong best bets for my clients. Get them for free right now. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut code WT.buzz/SM. All right, let's look at the 1 nighttime game. It's the top 25 matchup for this week 13, Saturday, November the 26th. Goes at 7:30 Eastern on ABC, and that is number 15 Notre Dame at number 6 USC. Now, as I mentioned earlier, one of the teams that benefited from the Tennessee loss not only is going to be the loser of the Ohio State-Michigan game, but is definitely USC. In fact, they probably benefited more than anybody. You know, it kept LSU alive because LSU had lost to Tennessee earlier in the year. It keeps them alive, but they have a tough road. They're going to have to beat Georgia next week in the SEC title game. But USC definitely somewhat controls their own destiny here, and they have a 31% chance of getting in if they continue to win. And that's assuming that Michigan loses to Ohio State. If Ohio State was to win and then somehow lose the title game at next week in the Big Ten, then USC's odds are on about 16%. But if Georgia, Ohio State, and TCU end up undefeated, USC still has over a 30% chance, according to ESPN, of getting in to the 14 playoffs. So they definitely will not overlook Notre Dame. It's a big game. And my database simulation actually has USC winning by 8.5 points. And the current point spread is only 4.5. So there is some value with USC, but I'm not going to jump on them in this game because Notre Dame is the much better defensive team as an underdog, over a yard per play better defensively. In fact, as good as USC has been offensively this year, really good, by the way, 43 points a game, 515 yards per game, 7.5 yards per play. Their defense is suspect, to say the least. They give up 6.1 yards per play against teams that average just 5.9. Now, Notre Dame on the season is averaging just 5.7 yards per play, but that's misleading because they've been playing much better over the past month. This is a Notre Dame team that was number 5 in the nation when the season began. They weren't even ranked about a month after that. Now they've climbed back into the top 20. That's because of 5 straight wins. After going 3-3, they've turned it on. They're now 8-3 on the season, and the difference has been the offense. This team was averaging just middle 20 points per game the first month and a half. The last 5 weeks, they've scored 35 or more in all 5 games. They've put up 41 points or more in 3 of those last 5 wins, and they should have success once again against a below-average USC defense. With that said, though, this is still a big step up in class for the Notre Dame defense, which statistically has been good this year, 5 yards per play allowed, but those opponents have been just 5.8 yards on average offensively. USC is 7.4. So both offenses hold the edge. Once again, my database projection is 8.5 for USC, but I'm not going to trust that because that takes all the games into account, including the first half of the season when Notre Dame was much weaker offensively. So I'm going to stay off the side, but what I do think has some value here is the over. Over 63 in this one. This line was actually 62.5, went up to 64.5 this week. It's come back down as we head closer to the weekend to 63. Maybe a little bit of a buyback from that early sharp money that we saw early in the week on the over. But I think both offenses hold the edge here, and I think there will be some points on this game Saturday night. So over 63 would be the best way to play the Notre Dame USC game, in my opinion. All right, those are the 3 official top 25 head-to-head matchups for week number 13 this Saturday in college football. As I like to do every week, I try to give you as much information, bonus content here in the video when possible. And there was one game that was just a bit outside, to borrow my baseball phrases, from making the cut this week. And that's the South Carolina-Clemson game. The reason being is that South Carolina, after their huge upset of Tennessee last week, has climbed to number 27 in the AP rankings, and they're number 28 in the coaches poll. So if they're able to pull the upset as a 14.5-point underdog this week against Clemson, they will definitely be a top 25 team next week. I don't think that happens, though. My database simulation favors Clemson by 17 points. However, just like the Notre Dame database, you got to tread lightly here because we really have to try to figure out how much better is South Carolina after last week. Is it the South Carolina team that scored just 10 points and 6 points in 2 of their 3 prior games, including the 38-6 loss the week before against Florida? Or is it that offense we saw last week put up 63 points on over 600 total yards against Tennessee, who was 5th in the nation? South Carolina was over a 3-touchdown home underdog, and they won outright. Now, normally you'd say this is a letdown spot, but it's a rival game against Clemson, and if that offense really is clicking now, maybe it's the buy sign. Hard to know. Once again, my math on my database favors Clemson by 17. The true line is only 14.5, so the line is a little short. Just hard to know what to do with South Carolina. Keep in mind, Spencer Rattler, the quarterback, the transfer quarterback there, was the preseason favorite to win the Heisman as low as 2-1 a year and a half ago when the season started last year when he was at Oklahoma. Ended up not even playing that year as a starter when the season ended and then transferred. So there's tremendous upside. He had a fantastic game last week. Can he continue against what is a better Clemson defense, getting up just 5 yards per play, just 20 points per game this year? So not a game I'll be involved in. I wanted to include it here, though, because if South Carolina does really well, they could be top 25 next week. And more importantly, they have a bowl game on deck. At 7-4, they will be bowling. So we want to see what this team looks like this week. Was last week a one-off? Leave me some comments below. Let me know your thoughts on South Carolina and if you think that was the real deal last week or if that was just Tennessee finally being exposed. Hey, speaking of comments, I love the comments. I read every one of them. I reply back. You know this. Let me know your thoughts on these big matchups, especially those head-to-head, those three true top 25 matchups I mentioned here. Most importantly, let me know your thoughts on Michigan, Ohio State. Who's going to win that big battle? Does the loser with one loss still deserve to be in the Final Four? I think they do. Math model, once again, ESPN's projected model has Michigan at a 52% chance to still get in with one loss if they were to lose the game as expected. I think they deserve to be there. I've said that all year long. I think they're as good as any team in the country. Georgia's pretty much in, and Ohio State, if they wins, in. TCU's the real question mark, undefeated on the season. They're actually a double-digit favorite this week. It's the most winnable game they've had the past 3 weeks. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Does Iowa State get them sleeping? Or does TCU deserve to be in? There's actually a chance, according to ESPN, that TCU runs the table, goes undefeated, and still does not get into the playoffs. I don't see that happening, though. One other team I want to mention that's still alive is Alabama. Just can't get rid of Alabama. With 2 losses, they still have a 12% chance of making the 14 playoff, according to ESPN. Now, a lot of things would have to happen. Basically, I think Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, they'd all have to lose the title games next week. But Bama still with 2 losses have a 12% chance of getting in, which is pretty crazy. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think are the true top 4 teams? Rank them right now for me in the comments below. Give me your number 1, 2, 3, and 4, your true top 4 playoff teams. And once again, let me know who you like this weekend on Saturday in college football. Be sure to check back Saturday afternoon for my NFL Sunday Fade the Public video. Hit subscribe and hit that bell for instant alerts when that video is live here on this channel. Hit the like button and comment below. And don't forget, get the rest of November for free, including all 5 of my strong college football best bets for this Saturday and my Sunday NFL best bets as well. College and pro basketball every day. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. You get December and you get the rest of November for free. 13-4, 76% all sports the past week since I first made that offer. Don't wait any longer. Get this final week of November for free right now when you buy December. Steve Merril, wagertalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut code WT.buzz/SM. Hey, if you're on Twitter, don't forget to follow me there as well, at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on Twitter. And check back Saturday for my NFL Fade the Public video right here on Wager Talk TV. Enjoy the games. Thanks for watching, and best of luck.